everybody. Wow, welcome to the Dex. I'm PokeKellz.
And I'm Pokemon Breeder Alex.
Pokemon Breeder? That's a weird one.
What? Why?
I mean, your training class always has something to do with the Pokemon that we're covering, right? What Pokemon specifically has to do with breeding? What is that?
I'm doing the face.
The face?
The Ditto face.
What, a line and two dots?
Yeah, look.
That's terrible. And I don't want to do Ditto. SGC was exhausting.
Well, don't worry, dude. I already thought of that. This week's episode is going to be performed by a bunch of Dittos.
Are you serious? You brought Pokemon into this realm? Are you crazy?
Well, maybe they're Dittos, and maybe they're the audience at our SGC panel, but either way, there's a bunch to say about Ditto, so let's get started.
Oh, man, yeah.
SGC, woo!
Ditto's known as a transform Pokemon. He's pink and cute, and he's been around since Gen 1.
That's right, it can make an exact replica of anything it sees, but transforming from memory is hard for it, and it'll get some of the details wrong.
Ooh, maybe that's why his face doesn't change when he transforms sometimes.
Maybe so, but the behind-the-scene reason is that Junichi Masuda and Ken Sugimori wanted his face to look like a smiley face emoticon.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they figured it felt super generic and it was perfect for a Pokemon that never kept his face for very long.
That is so neat. That's way deep for a line and two dots.
Right? And if you make Ditto laugh, it can't hold its disguise.
Weird. It's like a bugger in the Pokemon world.
The word of Ditto is a slang term that means me too, a copy or other same before.
Yep, and Japanese name is Metamon. It's a mix between Metamorph and Monster.
The prefix meta means all-encompassing, which is a reference to his ability to become anything. Isn't that cool?
Speaking of becoming anything, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, did you know that the Ditto item was supposed to morph into your player's character?
System limitations kept it from happening, but Ditto's still in the game.
Also, in Gen 2, Ditto would keep his color palette when transformed, and you could turn into purple versions of all the Pokemon.
Wait, purple? I thought you said pink earlier.
Did I? That's weird.
Oh wait, that reminds me.
Of what?
Of the perfect topic for this week's ridiculous segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pokebusters.
So I bet you were all wondering if we're going to talk about Ditto and Mew. We are.
The popular theory floating around is that Ditto are simply failed Mew clones. But why exactly?
Well, did you know Mew and Ditto are the exact same weight and color, even their shinies?
And did you know that their base stats are both at the same value? Mews are all 100 and Dittos are all 42.
And did you know that Mew and Ditto are the only two Pokemon that can learn Transform?
And what about how Ditto appeared in the wild near Pokemon Mansion in Cerulean Cave? That's where Mew and Mewtwo come from.
Yeah, and maybe the Ditto followed Mewtwo to Cerulean Cave. I mean, the Pokedex confirms there's Mewtwo clones, so it's possible, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately wrong. As compelling as the evidence is, Matsuda has confirmed there is no specific connection.
Isn't that a bummer? Anyway, I suppose that means it's busted. Sorry, everybody.
Wow, sometimes definitive answers totally drool, man.
I'll say, but you know what rules?
Gen 6 battle strategy?
Yes, let's go!
Pokemon!
There's really only one strategy for Ditto because of how weird he is, and it's based around his inability imposter.
Start with the relaxed one and EV train in HP and defense.
Imposter copies everything about your opponent except for their IVs and HP stat. So the EVs are just for entry hazards and living as long as possible.
Since you're gaining your opponent's moves and stats, the only advantage you can get is with the Choice Scarf. It'll help you outspeed them, but it will also lock you into one move, so good luck.
Normally there's random thoughts here, but with Ditto there really isn't anything else to say. All done.
And that's it! Ditto, that weird smiley little blob that breeds with everything. Pretty silly that he's basically an emoji Pokemon.
And it's a bummer he's not conclusively connected to Mew. Guess that does it for clones.
Wait, clones? Kelz, I just had a thought.
What's that?
If we're here in the studio filming this, who are those two people running the panel?
Who cares? SGC, woo! I'm PokeKellz.
And I'm Pokemon Breeder Alex.
Tune in next week for another slippery episode of
The Dex.
Hi, my name is Miguel, and Breloom is my boy.
My name is Josh, and Ninetales is my girl.
My name's Cassandra, and Togepi's my baby.
My name is Nico, and Flurfpuff is my dog.
Catherine's my name, and Articuno's my bird.
My name's David, and Greninja is my boy.
I'm Michael, and Charizard is my dragon.
My name's Sarah, and Charizards are my wings.
Hey everyone, my name's Nick, and Lilligant is my waifu.
Hey, I'm Big Josh, and Excadrill is my drill that will pierce the league!
Hey everybody, I'm Nick, and Ursaring doesn't get enough love.
I'm Chris, and Superior is my snake.
Hey everybody, my name's Alec, and Hitmonchan is my sparring partner.
Hey guys, my name's Aaron,
and Lucario has the aura.
Hey guys, Matthew here, and Relicanth is my boy.